Welcome to Visionary Psychics. I'm Sara Wiseman, and we have here with us today one of our visionary psychics, Melissa. Melissa, welcome to this program or this summit that we're doing. Nice.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Melissa, we've had the opportunity to work together for quite a while as in this in psychic intuitive world, and one of the things that always strikes me is you have this astonishing ability to go really deep. You go right to the heart of the matter very easily. And I'm wondering, um, when the information, like, how does the information come to you? What does it feel like? And how do you just manage, like, woof, here it comes, and there it is for you?
It's actually pretty remarkable. I set the intention. I can literally do other things while it's downloading. And I take what I receive. I actually think doing other things helps me to download because I'm not thinking about a particular person or thing, and the information can't be misinterpreted because I'm not thinking about that. So if I'm doing the dishes, I'm not thinking about something else, and then I start writing. I do a
Okay.
lot of writing.
So the writing is you're just writing down what the impressions that you're receiving and just writing it all and letting it all come through.
It's almost like an automatic writing, and it's a little bit almost like an emergency that I
Mm-hmm.
have to have the paper nearby, because once I recognize that I'm writing and the universe knows that it's communicating with me, then it just flows. Then it even comes faster and more swiftly.
Yeah. I certainly appreciate that idea of, like, you have to have the paper with you. Like, sometimes something comes and, like, you're grabbing a piece of toilet paper
Right.
or paper towel or something,
Absolutely.
just like I need your shirt to write on or something. It just has to grab it. Um, Tell me about how, I mean, you've been doing this for a long time, this work of intuition and psychic knowing. And when did that all come about for you, or how did that begin for you? Do you recall?
I know I could see things very clearly, and I felt one of my gifts was good or bad. I could see bad easily. Like I could look at a person and see very clearly when everybody in the room was going, "Oh, they're so wonderful. They're such a delight." And then I started questioning myself because I thought there was something wrong with me because I was seeing a totally different person. And thank goodness I listened to myself, because what I did was first I would try to convince people. So I would kind of pound. So I've learned not to do that, keep it
Mm-hmm.
to myself. And it always played out down the road, further down the road. And I was so fascinated by all of that that I started taking classes. And I was also, which we never discussed, I was fascinated with life after death.
Mm-hmm.
And I followed and studied Dr. Michael Weiss,
Mm-hmm.
for years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was at
Mm-hmm.
anything locally or within, let's say a 50-mile radius or 100-mile radius, I was there. If he was speaking, I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I
And
loved how he approached everything. So that really, I think, was Louise Hay and him kind of really pushed me.
yeah, and just so people don't know, I think this is correct. So Dr. Weiss is like life between lives, life,
Mhm.
yeah, and that's similar to
Life
like
after death.
Michael, yeah, Michael Newton also. They were sort of around the same time, or they had a lot of overlap. Just so people have some context there. Yeah,
Past life,
absolutely.
past life, a lot of past life
A
stuff.
lot of past lives. Yeah. When you did that, what kind of past lives did you come up with for yourself that were kind of the more activated ones in this lifetime?
Um, Only one was intense. She took me through the whole process, and it was in direct relationship to my ex-husband. And
Mhm.
it was a little bit, I'm going to use the word traumatic, because it was something, I don't know, 500 years ago, 600 years ago, where my mother wasn't well, and some man offered to take me to a relative's home far away, obviously by a carriage or something. And he did very bad things to me. I was young. I was only like 9 years old. And that was my ex-husband. And
Yeah.
without getting into all that. And then I've had lighter ones where I was probably in the 19, it's hard for me because I'm not sure about what years are what, but maybe the 1950, I mean, not 1950, the 1500s, where I was in just like almost, it was a home, but it was like, all dirt. And I saw myself, and I was the man and my sister was the husband. And it wasn't intense. It was, we didn't go into what did you learn from that. We took it for what it was. And I learned that, we had a nice marriage. We didn't live very long, either one of us. And
Right.
it was simple.
Yeah, we talked about that in one of our classes recently, how a lot of the past lives, you only get to a certain age because that was the lifetime you got, the lifespan you got. So we have a lot of past lives where we're pretty young.
Very young, yeah.
And I would guess as we go forward, this time our lifespan's going to seem young. When we start living to 120 or 130, we'll be like, what? They only live to that age? And tell me about your spirituality as a child, any influences that came to you, or sort of as you made your way along the path.
Well, my family was religious, and they very involved in their religious. I never resonated with it. I never really cared about it. And honestly, it was way too time consuming because, they wanted you to go to after school, they wanted you to go to their programs. And the second I could get out of that, I was gone. And actually what's interesting is my siblings and I, except the youngest, have all kind of taken the same path. We're all very similar that way.
Yeah. When you're doing your work now, what are your favorite ways of, some people are really good with third eye visioning. Some people see the departed. Some people work with the guides. What are the ways that you like to receive the best?
I think I talk to my guides in general. I only talk to them specifically when I go into something to specifically converse with them. And usually that's personal. So that's a more personal thing. I find that when I ask for information, I'm not sure who gives it, but they give it very clearly, very accurately, and they want to always provide me with information that will allow me to confirm or reaffirm that whoever I'm giving the information to is the correct person. And that I find fascinating.
So yeah, tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, because I'm not really asking for that. I really set the intention and go about my, usually it's a day. Usually I take a day to digest everything. And they usually start with color, what the person looks like, the hair color, the clothes they may be wearing, how old they are. There's a definite, I can't always see the face, but when that happens, I can see if the face is round, if somebody's old or young, what color their hair is, what dress they may be wearing. If it's a man, I had a situation where there was a very tall, bony, lanky man that had departed, and that was as clear as day, but I really didn't see his face per se.
Right.
But I saw the rest of him very clearly.
When you, I've also noticed that you have like this idea of being able to go really deep. You have the ability to go, like, some people can go very easily to, if someone had a very significant event in their life as a child, or they had a childhood trauma that is ready to be unearthed. How does that, what does that feel like when you start to sense something about a person that is similar to that?
I'm not sure I know that in advance. What I found is that when I'm talking to the person, I really buy into the co-creation. So I usually will give people information, and unfortunately or fortunately, that then leads to the next thing. I don't tell people, unless it's something very distinct that there's no doubt in my mind, but many times it's just purely a puzzle. Like I had a woman that it was a yellow dress, and it was driving me nuts because I kept thinking, a yellow dress, how silly. And when she came and we started discussing things, and there were two bits of information I got. The first two, one was a yellow dress and one was a man, her father. And I actually knew this woman, but I didn't know her in a personal level, you know, intimately. And the first thing she did was pull out her phone, bring me the picture of the yellow dress. It was the exact same yellow that I had seen. And there was a memory for her that was very important in that dress.
Okay.
And that led to the rest of
the
reading.
I love
so
that.
I can't say I get information, you know,
you get like the piece of the puzzle that leads you to ask, and then the next piece of the puzzle comes. At least that's how it happens for me. I'll get one part and then lead to the next and lead to the next, and then you put the puzzle together with the client.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like the word co-create because that's usually what it truly is.
Yeah. And it feels like, for me anyway, the client has to show up with they have to show up with willingness to participate. Otherwise it's like, why are we here? We're not here to be this is how your life will be. Like, no, we're not doing that. How have you noticed in your own life, as you continue and keep expanding your training and your understanding, and how has that shifted your own life, do you think?
Well, the simplest way I could put it is, I know without a doubt that my vibration and my energy is its highest and its happiest and its most fulfilled when I am doing any kind of energy work related to intuitive reading, mediumship, anything related to that. So when you're that happy and the time goes by and you don't have to really think about it, and you're just happy. I mean, it's pure happiness. It's pure, whatever you're feeling, it's pure. You don't have to analyze it. You don't have to ask. You don't have to question. And that pretty much says it all. That tells me that wherever it goes, it tells me I'm in the right place.
So I just got I have never thought of it that way, but I got full body chills when you said that. And it reminds me, like, there's some people that they just can sit down and play any instrument and it's so joyous for them. And that's what, for you and me and others in this work, that's what this intuitive, psychic, spiritual is like. This is where we're supposed to be. Like, and for me, it's like the only thing. I can't cook, I can't garden. This is it. This is my only thing I have. And and so it's like, and what's interesting is that even 10 years ago, even though lots of people were studying, I feel like this coming out of the woodwork, joining with others, working together, it's really accelerated a lot. And that is highly encouraging, because instead of having to be like at our houses secretly doing this work, we can be like talking to each other and, sharing what we know and sharing what we've learned, which is pretty cool.
Yes, it's important. It's like when you go into a metaphysical store and you can't leave.
Yeah.
Because you love the cards or you love a particular book. Just the energy in the store, almost sucks you in, and you're there.
Yeah, absolutely. That is so true. Like, yeah. And then the vibration of, like, I'm thinking of new Renaissance books in Portland, or old East-West books that used to be up in Seattle, which I was, and the energy of the people and all the stuff and all the ideas, it's just like this beautiful little place. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add about your own process, or how you think about this, or anything that comes to mind?
No, I know I've done a lot of work with, I've studied many different realms, many. I still study a lot of astrology. I love it. I think it's amazing. I think it's one of the hardest things to study, to be very honest.
Yeah.
And I just kind of, look at both as they're both gifts. They're both things that you can apply, understand. It may not be physics per se, or it may not be engineering per se, but I challenge anybody to study astrology. I know personally, I've been studying it very, very long time. And the combination of the two, just to
Yeah.
get a little taste of, where someone may be on their chart. I do always pull somebody's chart. And I use it more just to give myself and to give them. I actually do share with them some insight from that. And then I go into the reading of what I have. And then at the end, I usually will give them their chart. I'll say, here's your
Oh, that's
chart.
cool.
It may mean something to you. It may not, but at least you'll have it now when somebody says something. And
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, if you have the ability to do astrology with this, that is, phenomenal, like adding different practices to this, and especially that. Yeah, that's
yeah,
really cool.
I love it.
Yeah.
I really, I think because it's a challenge, it has taken me, and I'm not exaggerating, it's taken me a good 20 years to get where I
Oh,
am. And I am by no means an
yeah.
expert.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah. Well, this is your practice and my practice and other people's watching, I'm sure. Like, this work is our practice. This is what we are and what we do. So,
Well, this is what makes me happy.
yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much. And we will put all the contact details below. But thank you, Melissa, for being with us today.
And thank you for having me.
Yep.
Bye-bye.